It's 1:10 p.m. on March the 13th, 2020, and we're having our first virtual Economic Development Corporation meeting, Bastrop EDC meeting. And I will pass it on to the agenda reader.
All right, we're not going to have any public comment, obviously, since we're here, but regular business and presentations, 3.1, consideration, discussion, and possible action on Resolution R 2020-11 of the Bastrop Economic Development Corporation, approving the distribution of funds to City of Bastrop businesses to assist with the retention of employees, training of employees, and the expansion of their business enterprise back to the level sustained prior to the COVID-19 pandemic and national disaster, and in an amount not to exceed $10,000 per project and per business.
Thank you, Ron. Cameron, would you like to address the board?
Yes. So first and foremost, I would like to address the public meeting open comment on our agenda. We posted a request for open comments to be emailed to Angela. Angela, did we have any emails as of 1 o'clock?
No, sir, we did not.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll move on to that agenda item. And what I'm going to present is first a spreadsheet, and I'm going to explain to both you, the board, and to the public how this spreadsheet was generated. First, we had a spreadsheet listing the data that we received from all the businesses, which was applicable property taxes, if they paid property taxes on their business, their personal property taxes. What was that? Provide the certificate. Second, their employee data from the Texas Workforce Commission, or if they were a sole proprietorship and did not have employees, a statement to that effect. And then three, their sales tax data, either for the month of February or their most recent data that they could provide showing sales tax, if applicable. Some of the businesses that applied don't pay a sales tax because they're service-oriented businesses, but we are able to provide them with funds legally. I talked to counsel about that, and because we're expanding business enterprise, not just payroll and jobs, that it does qualify as an allowable project for those businesses. So I then took those factors and separated them up into 6 categories. And what I'm going to put on the screen is the 6 categories of the businesses and then their proportion that they're broken down to. And kind of our team goal as an EDC behind the scenes was to try and get this first round to about $150,000 to $185,000 for distribution. And what this spreadsheet does is cover that amount. And then what I'm going to do is pull that up and then go through questions you may have about that spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is not a final spreadsheet. This is a working draft, and we'll go through and I'll take questions and we'll work through this together as a team and make any necessary changes. I'm going to show you first one spreadsheet that I have that breaks them up into 6 categories. And then I have a second spreadsheet after looking back through this where I divided up a little bit differently into the same categories, but I just moved some businesses from one category to the next and I changed the amounts. So I'm going to show you the first spreadsheet first with the 6 categories. That was my first version. First, before I share my screen, do I have any questions from anyone on the board?
The only question I have is just curious how you came up with the amount that you wanted to allot for this first round.
Good question. Yes. So we have currently we have a bucket of money, $150,000 that we can use for business incentives, and we have another bucket of money of $150,000 that we have budgeted for expansion and retention. And these grants fall into both those categories. So we can take money from both categories for this. And based upon the number of businesses that applied, which was 62, by the way, 62 businesses applied for this grant. I wanted to be able to give around $2,000 to $3,000 per business, which is about $150,000. And this also opens the door for us to do a second round of grants in May and give the same amount or around the same amount at a second round if we're not able to open up in May as planned.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Cameron, this means we really have $300,000 available?
Yes, sir, that is correct. And we have possibly some additional money too we can scrape up from some other areas as well without having to do a budget amendment.
I have a question. Do we have any idea or numbers yet at how we're going to be affected sales tax wise in Bastrop?
No, sir, we do not have that data yet. But it's definitely going to be an impact.
But this was money
I
that
can
was
sh-
approved.
I can share with you.
Already approved in the budget that the budget that we approved, right? This $300,000.
Yeah, that's correct. And what happens this month won't impact this. This money is already there, able to be used, correct. Okay, I'm going to try and share my screen.
And Cameron,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Cameron, is savings available? I would think that there were some training and some marketing stuff that's not happening. So does that create some money for this bucket as well?
Yes, that's where I said we could scrape money from other buckets. Yes, that is one of those areas, the promotional marketing area and budget we have. Yes, ma'am.
Would that require a budget amendment with the city?
You want me to take that
No,
one, Cameron?
that would not require a budget amendment with the city. If we move to reserve funds, we'll have to do a budget amendment. Okay, so can everybody see my screen?
Can't read it, but I
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah, it's easier if you downloaded the pages to read it.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
What about now? Is it
That's better, yeah.
That's better. Yeah.
There
okay?
you go.
So what I'm going to do is go through each of these, and then I'm going to bring up my second spreadsheet, and we'll go through that, and then I'll go through questions on that. So this first spreadsheet has the green projects, and just so the members of the public know, you as a board do not know which businesses or which project, so that way you can objectively make these decisions and evaluate how these awards are going to be done. And that was done intentionally, so that way this could be as objective as possible. The first section, the green group, are either mom and pop businesses or sole proprietors, meaning they don't really have a payroll. It's either they're just themselves or their husband and wife or friend. And if they don't have a sales tax, then that means they're a service business and therefore they don't pay a sales tax. That's why those are left blank, those dashes. And then the second group have at least 2 employees, up to 4 employees. And again, if they don't have a number in for the sales tax, that's a service that they provide and therefore do not pay a sales tax. And then before I get down into the rest of these, I'm going to pull up my second spreadsheet and show after reviewing it, I noticed that there was a big discrepancy in the first category of sole proprietors and then in the second category of 2 to 4 businesses. And so I subdivided the green into 2 different shades of green and reduced the awards for those businesses that aren't paying much in sales tax or property tax. Basically, if they're paying less than $100 in both categories, I reduced their award to $750. And then if they had 2 employees, I reduced their award in the second category from $2,000 to $1,500. So those numbers would then even out and be more evenly distributed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
What does that do to the total?
Okay. So then that brings the total award to 179,000.
So about the same.
And so I'll start at the top and I'll go through each color and we'll ask any questions anybody may have over each one of these in each proposed business. And let me address a question first to Project 62. It is a total employees of 2 there. I don't know why that number is not in there, but that should be a 2. So.
And in most cases, with a like spouse, husband and wife team running the business.
Correct. Yes, sir. A husband and wife or friends. It was usually the case.
Hey, Cameron,
Yes, ma'am.
on project 22, where it's a total of like $400, if you compare 22 to 13 and 21, it seems like 22 should maybe be a 750 as well.
Well, so this is what I looked at for that, is their sales tax is $354.67 just for February. So over 12 months, that would be a significant amount in sales tax.
Okay,
So that's
I'll go for it.
So they were a new business?
correct.
Pyramid, okay.
Yeah, and they don't have a sales tax paid in 2019. Almost all of those are businesses that started this year or after January 1st of 19, so they didn't pay a tax for 19. But
Well,
they
is-
will have a tax this year once that's assessed this month, next month.
Is column B sales tax for 2019 or property tax?
Property tax, column B is property tax.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense. Thanks for clarifying
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I thought it
Yeah.
was sales tax too.
B is property tax, C is sales tax.
Yeah, okay.
My screen's not letting me show the ad valorem.
That's right. I see it now.
Any other questions on green
Nope.
there?
Nope.
And then I moved these first 5 projects in the second category up to green because I then just included anybody with 2 employees with the 1,500 because those projects, 40, 17, 20, 25, and 47, more closely resembled 56 and 46 than the other ones below. So,
Yeah, with the exception of number 20.
number 20, okay? Oh, do you think that one should go below as 2,000?
I think, yeah, if they contributed sales tax of 2,500, that's more than any of the ones we've talked about. Seems like I'm okay with them getting 2 if everybody else is.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sure.
I was just going to say, they definitely are in a higher amount of tax payment in there, so I agree.
Okay, I like that.
And I can't even tell you how happy I am. We have no idea who the business is. Phew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, and at this juncture, I don't either. I don't have these memorized by any step. Okay, so what about the rest of the peach here?
Well,
Category
let's talk about number 8. 8's got a high property tax, but a real low sales tax, and yet they're up in the 2,000 range. Wouldn't they be better in the 750 range?
Well, I did this, the times 12 is $10,000.
Yeah, they're bringing in $10,000 worth of taxes a year.
Okay.
Plus they
They
have
have
3
them.
employees.
Okay, I can go for that.
Yeah.
I'll just need a little more explanation. You did, thank you.
I think the issue I have is like with 2 and 19.
Thank you, Sam.
Logic that.
Yep, I was waiting on those.
Was on what?
Do I have the information on those for the taxes or what?
Yes, so they don't have a lot by way of property for personal property taxes. I'm not sure what the real property situation is, but then there's both service oriented, which is why they don't have a sales tax.
Sounds
But
like
then
1,500 to me,
1,500?
or a number smaller than 2,000. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Yep, I
I might
agree.
even drop it down to the 750 just to be more
Well, they've got
fair.
four
Because
employees.
it just doesn't seem, it seems like that's a lot.
They got four
They have
employees.
four, yeah, they have
The
four
four
employees.
employees,
That was what I was gonna say, Pat.
Well, are they a service business that is not charging sales tax, that maybe operates out of their home? There's not a lot of property tax, so there must be a reason.
There is.
Are they service businesses?
They're service oriented, correct. And they just don't have much equipment for the services they provide.
Okay, so for me, if we're being fair to these other people that are paying into the pot, they aren't paying anything in regardless of having 4 employees. So I'd like to help them, but it seems like 2,000 seems high.
That's
The thing
kind of
about
why I
the-
suggested 750, drop them down to the lowest level, but at least give them something.
What if we did 1,000 for them, since they kind of fall in a unique category?
Yeah, I don't agree with going down to 750.
Okay?
Yeah, Cameron had a reason for putting them on there for employees.
That's fine, I can go with that, that's fine.
And I think one of the things, Cameron, when you told me that the number of employees was not necessarily full-time employees, it's people.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
So that made a difference to me when I looked at the list. It's like, some of them have like 30 employees or whatever. I said, those 30 full-time employees? Not necessarily.
So then 1,000 for each of them? Does that work?
Okay.
That's fine with me.
Yes.
Yep.
And then these next two, 35 and 54, they also have the data above as 1,500, but they have 4 employees versus the 2. Did you want to treat them differently as well?
Well, at least they're paying in some amount of sales tax.
Yep. And if you extrapolate that over a year, that's a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
$5,500.
And remember, this is potentially not the only money we can give these people. I would hope that we might look at other alternatives as if this thing continues.
Yep. I don't have a problem, from my point of view, I don't have a problem with 35 and 54 for the $2,000. I'm okay with that.
Okay, but I just have to, because y'all know how I am. I'm devil's advocate. Go back and look at 56. They have 2 employees, and look how much bigger their numbers are on both. And then compare that to 35 and 54.
Well, it brings up a good question. Do we look at this and say that the money is going strictly to the business, or is it going to go to some of the employees as well?
Up to the business. Correct.
Okay. Well, I guess so what it says is that if you have more employees, you have higher expenses. That's why they're in the 2,000 versus the 1,500?
That and then they have more employees that are working and producing here in the city as well, and paying payroll tax as well.
And I guess the indirect benefit would be higher because they're going to have to buy stuff and they pay taxes when they buy stuff as well, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And
So they're not
many of these companies might not even be functioning right now. So, I mean, the number of employees isn't really relevant. I mean, they could be shut down.
And these are different than the 1,500 because these are not just mom and pop. They actually do have people that depend on them for payroll. And that's why I upped them to 500. From
Okay.
None,
Yeah. We're really
None
only
of
talking
it-
about dollars.
Yeah, we really are. So Mayor, you brought it up. So are you okay with 2,000 or do you want to drop it back down?
I'm okay. Cameron convinced me.
Okay.
Since we don't know the names, when other people look at the spreadsheet, I want it to make sense. You know, I'm just kind of trying to do the sanity check.
Good point.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out how to add judgment onto a spreadsheet.
Right.
Nobody will get this right.
That's right.
Well, and there's no
It's
perfect
all-
form. We can only do as good as we can, you know?
And it's better than nothing, which is what they thought they were going to get, right? So,
Right.
Want to go to the
All right, so let's move to yellow in the 2,500 category.
Well, we got to talk about 7 and 12. No sales tax. I'm assuming it's also a service-related business.
Yes, sir.
Good employee amount. Okay. I guess the same justification, so to speak, that we had on the last conversation, where it's because they have that many employees and whatnot that they don't have a lot of their service related. So there's not a lot of tax revenue. Okay. I'm
there's a
also going to take it that on number 9, it's basically the same example as on the last conversation we had on the one on the peach color. It's $2,500 a month, just like number. Hold on here. Just like number 9. Well, that is 9. Sorry. Just like number 20. Number 9 and 20 are similar in as much as the amount of taxes they pay. But you've got 5 employees versus 2 employees. So I guess that's kind of the justification there for the
Yes,
added.
sir. That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. $1,000 for the additional 3 employees. That's correct.
Thank you.
well, so just to make sure that people don't think I'm a miser, what about project number 36? If they're paying $5,000 in sales tax a month, should they maybe get bumped up?
Yeah, you know, that's a good point. Looking down at the next category, they should probably be in that $3,500 category.
That's a
And the
good
orange.
catch. I agree with that.
Yeah. I
I'll
agree
make
too.
that change. Wrong color.
close.
I like that.
I'm okay with that too.
Anything else on yellow?
Not for me.
No,
Yeah.
Okay, orange. And now we're already
you-
looking at
These
34.
employees are not necessarily full-time employees?
correct. Because you're looking at a lot of these are restaurants.
Okay.
Well, number 30 couldn't be a restaurant if they're only paying $670 in taxes. Just my opinion, but they do have 21 employees, but they pay very little in taxes. So I'm not sure that would be a restaurant. That, again, looks like more of a service-related business or something.
Yeah, but that 670 times 12 is 14,000.
No, but when I'm looking at the other ones that are paying 3 to 5 to 13,000,
Yep, you're right.
but they do have a healthy amount of employees there. Cameron, any comments about that?
Yeah, that's why I put them in that category because of the number of employees they have. It's a large number.
I'm okay with it because of the large number. I'm thinking now, like the mayor is, when you're looking at this and don't have all the information, you're going, wow, that's a small amount of taxes that they're getting.
But they're still
Contributing.
they're still contributing $8,000 in taxes. And we're just giving
Right.
back 3,500.
And when you see that many employees, I think at a time like this, it's more important than the taxes. And, they may be in a business where it's not their fault that they're not paying a lot in sales tax.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just looking at it kind of from a different set of eyes is what I'm trying to.
For a bad month.
There's 134. I'm thinking about moving down to the 6,500. And now that I'm looking at it, just
Yep.
because of how much they paid in sales tax and their number of employees.
You said move down. I was going to say, I was going to give them more, but now I realize you meant down to the other category.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, down to the red category.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
What about number 59 at 5,400 a month? And I guess in my mind, I was kind of, anything over 5 and less than 5 and kind of trying to, I don't know. Do you think it's questionable or not?
Yeah. Well, so that's yes, when you're looking at the sales tax, but then when you're looking at the number of employees versus those down here that are getting the 6,500, I guess we could go in between on, say, 20. Well, I don't know where you'd divide that because they're all kind of in the same category. 27.
They're all pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't know that it starts splitting it off like that. I mean, they're not that far off from number 16 for employees, for taxes.
Can I make a
I agree.
suggestion on the ones from $2,500 all the way up to the top? That we just
Yes.
add another $500 to each one of them.
So you mean starting at move everything at 2,500 to 3,000?
Yep. Make 2,000, 2,500. Make 15.
Well, aren't we going to maybe do a second tranche?
Yeah, that's
That's
gonna.
not a
that's
lot of
gonna
money.
take-
I just think that they could use it now. I think the difference is maybe $20,000.
Well, while we're talking about the second round, are we going to incorporate the folks that got money on the first round can also apply for the second round, or is it going to be totally new or different?
Yeah, well, yes. People that applied for the first round will be able to apply for the second round.
Okay. Then,
But let's
Sam,
get
maybe
this
that might
first.
help answer your question as far as raising the amount, because, I mean, obviously we want to help as many people as possible, and when the word gets out that we've got 62 different businesses that have received a first round, there's probably, I'm just going to guess, another group of people that haven't made application. And now we're going to have the same amount of money, but has to go over a larger amount of people. So I guess at some point we're going to need to discuss how we're going to divide that second round up to people that got the first phase.
Well, my thought is that we have money in our surplus. So if we raise the minimum amount to 2,000 or 750, was it 750 plus 500, $1,250, and you set that as your threshold for the second tranche, I don't think you're going to really be significantly spending a lot of extra money on the second tranche.
Well, can we finish going all the way through once and see what the number is?
That's
Maybe
fine.
talk about
Yep. I saw there was a $1,000 difference between the one bucket and the next bucket. So I thought, well, why don't we just make it 500?
So Sam, if we take your advice on this one, Cameron, what's going to be the total? How much more from the 174, whatever it is now? Will that take it up to over 200 or what?
Hold on, I agree with Connie. Let's get through the rest of the spreadsheet and then we'll go back and
Then
implement what's.
Cameron can adjust it to see what the numbers would be, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we make 55. Oh, sorry.
So the red, the 6,500 category, and that's why I made a big jump from 3,500 to 6,500 in the awards, because there's such a big jump in the data, both in employees and sales tax, like massive jump. So 2 to 3 times.
53 and 41 seem to be another exponential jump.
Yes, that's an excellent point. Those are, as well as 44. But no, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So 53 and 41, we could raise them up to 7,500, 53 and 41.
Yeah, they do. I mean, my gosh, they're 2x almost, and even more on their sales tax, and they do have quite a number of employees. I could go with an increase.
Are those full-time employees, Cameron?
Those are both full-time and part-time employees for both those businesses.
You want to put it up another 1,000?
I would say, why not 10,000?
I would say 9,500. 10,000, we get into the.
I forgot.
Yep.
Okay, I can go with that.
Yep, me too.
Okay, moving on down to blue. So blue are all the hotels, and they only do real property taxes, not personal property taxes. So that's blank, and then we have here their tax sales, hot tax information.
Okay. So number 12 is missing on our file. It really is 44,000 last month?
No, let me change that. Hold on.
Yeah, that was gross sales.
Yep, I need to put in the actual one. Hold on.
You were just testing us.
Angela, what number were you putting in there?
I just forwarded you the attachment that I received as the meeting started. I didn't look at the number. You want me to download it?
No, I got it. Hold on. Here we go.
Okay.
It is 41,000.
They paid 41,000 in sales tax last month.
That's taxable receipts, Cameron.
No, hold on.
Isn't it
Where is
8?
the actual tax they paid?
Did you open the attachment?
I did.
Look all the way at the bottom.
Oh, 312. Got it.
Go.
That's a difference.
Big. There we go. Okay.
The 13,000,
Yeah.
13,000, or the 11,730 in line 24. Is that sales tax and hot taxes, or just sales tax?
Hot. Those are all hot.
Is the 312 hot?
Yeah, that was where I was going. Yeah.
Yes, but it's for
All of those are the
it's for
hot.
only the month of February, whereas the others could very well be not the month of February.
Oh, okay, step back for just 2 seconds. Can you explain to me one more time? I guess I was sleeping. How come it's 0 on ad valorem taxation?
Because they don't have personal property taxes, they have real property taxes. And all of those are substantial. All of them, they average about
Got it.
$50,000 a year, each one of
Oh,
them
yeah,
for their.
easy. Okay, thanks. That's
So maybe when if we do the second tranche, that we could look at all their taxes that they pay to the city of Bastrop, right, or county.
Yes, if we do a second round with the hotels, I'm going to ask for different metrics from them. These metrics didn't fit them exactly.
Okay.
Well, I find them to be all over the board. I have a hard time, 2 employees and 27 employees get the same amount. And 312 as compared to 12,000. Are we sure that all those numbers are apples and apples?
No.
No, we're not sure.
No?
No, we're not sure. We have to go with whatever they sent us, which doesn't necessarily, that number is probably a year.
So some of these,
What if we just ignore those numbers and just talk about the concept of hotels?
yes.
Maybe the one with the 2
It could be a bed and breakfast.
is in a different category because it looks like it's like a boutique hotel or something.
Yeah, it could
like
be
that.
a bed and breakfast.
Maybe we
Right.
put that in a different grouping.
In fairness to them, we didn't ask for their hot tax to begin with. We asked for sales tax. They don't pay sales tax. So we went with what we had.
And EDC shares in hotel taxes?
We do not.
No,
You don't?
we don't receive hot ones. No,
No, the city does though.
Hmm.
correct.
So,
My recommendation would be that maybe you put number 24 in a smaller category and keep the other hotels a standalone and keep them at $5,000.
so are these other hotels national firms?
Yes.
Probably mostly, yeah.
They're national franchises, but they're owned.
They're franchises.
They're locally owned. They're national
correct.
franchises. Yeah. So would you want to
Except
do,
maybe 24.
correct, 24 is a bed and breakfast. Would you want to do half of that for 24?
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would work for me.
And then for a second tranche, we would have break out bed and breakfast from the more traditional hotel motel kind of thing.
Correct, and we'll be asking for different information for them for this. This was the learning curve.
Remember, Cameron put it in that category. We didn't ask them to put themselves in the category. right?
Sure. No, it's all Cameron's fault. I'm clear.
Yeah, it is.
That is
That's
correct.
all Cameron's fault.
Without a doubt.
It's the mustache and the beard.
Works for me. He's the only
You
one that
can't
doesn't
trust
wear
anybody with a
glasses. It's
mustache and a
obviously
beard.
his fault.
He's trying to hide his identity.
Yeah.
So are we, after all of that, we're at 185?
185 even, which was my goal. That's
Right.
funny.
That's good.
That's why I wanted to raise it up a little bit.
Why don't we wait till next month to see? We don't know how many new applicants we may have.
But we don't know if we're going to have a second tranche either.
True. Oh,
Well, and we went out, we gave them a deadline of April the 10th, so that's already passed. So I don't know about waiting any longer on it, right?
I don't think we should wait. Let's go ahead and do this and then wait on the second round.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And none of us have seen the numbers and we don't know for sure, but I will share with you guys that some of what the city's working on is we think that sales tax is going to be impacted by 30 or 40%. There's a lot of things closed, but there's Home Depot and Lowe's are doing a lot. Buc-ee's is doing a lot.
Buc-ee's have been busy.
Yeah. So nobody knows for sure, but Cameron, I cannot say enough good things to you. The idea that we're being able to work so quickly. Angela, how quick will the checks go to these people?
As soon as we can get the finance department to process them, I'm gonna say. Is that correct, Cameron?
Yeah,
Vendor paperwork's already done?
Yes, we worked in conjunction in this process, thanks to Angela and Kathy, to get the vendor forms filled out. So we sent all the vendor forms to finance, some last week and then some today, the rest today. And then we're going to get, once this resolution is passed and this spreadsheet, we're going to send that over for them for a breakdown of who gets what. And hopefully those will get processed in the next 2 weeks, I would imagine, this week or next.
Yeah, I would
Is it a press release?
send it to the city manager and ask for an expedited process. We need to get this money out. I might be able to help with that.
Perfect, we'll do.
Good deal.
And we really need the community to know what we're doing.
I was just asking, is there going to be a press release explaining it?
Yeah, so it's already been drafted, and Catherine just sent me her edits. Thank you, Catherine. And we're going to get that out the door this afternoon.
All right.
Cameron,
And
those
I
amounts
wanna
are gonna need-
also say, Cameron, thank you very much for this, putting this thing together, because as you can tell, Georgetown is behind us. They decided to do the same thing as well, and their amounts are much less than what we're going to be awarding. So I think this is a fantastic thing that's taken place.
I agree. Can I get a motion on R 2020-11?
Yes, I move that we approve Resolution R 2020-11 based upon our discussions that we just had and the spreadsheet that was given to us that we have agreed to.
I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Hear a vote of affirmation.
Yay!
Yay.
Any nays? Motion is approved.
Excellent.
Any other business
Cameron.
you'd like to discuss?
I do want to let you guys know, I don't know if I think the mayor knows, but we were able to do a policies and procedures and kind of a manual on how we did this and replicate it. And we sent it to about a dozen different EDCs and cities around the state, and they're implementing it as well. So that was fun, and having conference calls with them all last week.
Well done. Good job.
Great.
I like that community spirit. That's great.
So this is Catherine. I'm on the phone, and I haven't been able to see. I've been listening to the discussion, but I haven't been able to see the changes. But that's great. We're still within the same ballpark figure. If you could, Cameron, just briefly, not in great detail, but share with us how you see the performance agreement being played out. Performance agreements can get really sticky and precise and messy. And talk us through kind of where you're looking at that process when you think, that's a lot of work. There's 62 here. Just walk us through that process, because I know you know that's coming, and you've had to have given that some thought.
Correct. So the performance agreement basically does two things. It makes them the business promise that they're going to use this money to expand their business enterprise, which is what we're required by law to have them agree to. And how they want to do that is up to them, whether it's inventory, mortgage, rent, employees, payroll, whatever that is, they get to use that for that purpose. And because it's a nominal amount, less than $10,000, it's not that we need to track every nickel and dime. Now, what I'm proposing for this next round is if a business already applied for a grant, that they then provide us, instead of all the same documents over again, they just provide us with what they used the first grant for, and then documentation of that to substantiate that. And then they would have to do a second performance agreement for the second round of money, and then that would substantiate what they did this first round as well. Now, to answer your question more specifically, what we're going to do is we've taken all this information from them. We've made these distributions based upon the information they provided us. And really our check and balance on this is if they provided anything false and we find out about it, they have to pay the money back.
Excellent.
So Cameron, the way that I was reading it when you were saying expanding business, like paying rent or whatever, if they just pay next month's rent, that qualifies, right?
That's correct, because that's helping them stay on their feet and get back to the business expansion that they're going to need to get to once this pandemic is over with.
Then they may be paying rent or utilities or payroll or whatever.
That is correct.
And worst case, if they cannot come back into business when this is all over, as long as they did not think they were going to go into bankruptcy as of the time they submitted the application, they would not have to pay the money back, right?
Correct. Correct. If they go out of business, file bankruptcy, or provided anything false, then they didn't succeed. They would technically have to owe the money back, and then that's a policy decision on our end. Excuse me, whether or not we choose to go after that money.
They could go bankrupt tomorrow, but as long as they felt that they were not going to go bankrupt when they submitted the application, they wouldn't have to worry about it, right?
Well, under the agreement, they can't do that for 12 months. They can't go bankrupt for 12 months. Or they have to pay.
Just that part.
Yep.
Right, thank you.
So that's why you're saying it could be a policy decision. If they go bankrupt in 2 months because they couldn't bounce back from this, we would be not first in line, I would think, of the bankruptcy.
Without a doubt, yeah, we would be a creditor. We'd fall in line, and we would have to make a policy decision of do we want to go after $1,500 or $2,000
It's a
or
non-collateralized deal, so yeah, we're going to be way down on the bottom. Yeah, no.
So
I can follow a claim.
It's just the EDC trying to reinvest in the community. I mean, that's all it is.
That's exactly right.
Well, it's the true definition of business retention.
There you go.
Yeah, kind of
That is
community basis, right?
All right.
Okay, thank you, Cameron. That's just what I wanted to hear, and it's really to keep them afloat so they can hit the ground running when all is said and done.
I agree.
Any other items for discussion?
I do
Not
wanna
that
let
we
you guys-
have to, but did we want to talk about the second round, or we want to do that when it comes up for discussion?
I don't
Yeah,
think
well-
it's on the agenda, right?
It's not on the agenda. I'm going to put that on the agenda for Monday's regular meeting next week. We have to have a regular meeting. We've got some business stuff we have to vote on.
Okay.
So that'll be on the agenda next week, and we'll talk about all of that then, as well as the couple of other items that we have.
Same time?
Is that going to be a meeting or one of these?
It's going to be a regular meeting, so it'll be at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And it'll be a go-to or at Chambers?
Go to. We're going to do this same format.
Okay.
Sorry, Pat.
Yep.
He's got it down now.
With this,
Yeah, Pat and I are just going to
Sorry, Catherine. Yeah.
We're going to be roommates.
I live my life with a conference call. I don't know what happened today. Actually, my internet is acting up, so that's the big problem.
All right. Well, it's
All right, well, then I guess we-
58 p.m. I would like to propose that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Yay, sayers.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
I do want to.
Thanks, Cameron.
See you. I'll talk to
wanna-
you all.
Thank
at the
you,
next board
Cameron, as
meeting.
well as the
Thanks,
staff who
Cameron.
put all this together.
Oh, very nice. There we go. Horn. Welcome, Horn.